Remember this luxury super yacht that sunk off the coast of Sicily? It's only now just being brought to the surface. But why has it taken 11 months to do it? Raising the yacht from the seabed has not been easy. It weighs 473 tons and is now full of water. The man that led one of the biggest maritime salvage operations in history explains why.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear. Thoughts build up until I can't feel. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
The white upper layer and blue hull of the 56-meter Bayesian emerged covered in algae and mud. It was elevated by a yellow floating crane barge, it's quite a mouthful, just off the coast of Porticello. According to the BBC, Italian officials said the luxury yacht, the Bayesian, would be held up by a crane for a series of inspections requested by the Public Prosecutor's Office. It will later be fully removed from the water.
He recovered the sunken Costa Concordia cruise ship.
Once you get to the surface, you want that water out as quickly as possible, because then you are subject to weather impact. When she's full of water, then the hull is not designed to hold that. So you don't want to bring her out too quickly.
But before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. By the way, if you're interested in this coverage, you're probably going to find my analysis of the Netflix documentary on Titan worthwhile as well, so look out for that. If you're enjoying this analysis, please hit the thanks button and let's get started.
But you want to have enough pump capacity, so you can put some pumps through the hatches that are on the foredeck, through the main cockpit, into the saloon area, and you de-water that. And that will be quite quick. And they'll be talking to each other, and literally it's inch by inch, centimeter by centimeter, that they bring it out as the water gets drained out of it.
That was South African salvage master Nick Sloan, quite an interesting character. He's originally from Zambia, that was where he was born, but he sounds South African, doesn't he? He appears to be the world's leading expert in massive salvage operations. He even floated the idea, excuse the pun, of hauling icebergs to Cape Town from Antarctica when that city was gripped by serious freshwater shortages. Ironically enough, a salvage company called Titan Salvage is mentioned in this particular article. Now, according to CNN, on Monday, the delicate recovery operation will be concluded, that's today, as the Bayesian will be transported to the nearby port of Termini Imerese, did I pronounce that right, and settled in a specially built steel cradle. Then it will be made available for investigators for further examinations to help determine the cause of the sinking. Previous salvage efforts to raise the boat were delayed after a diver died, I think it was a Dutch diver, while working on the operation last month. And that effectively brings the total number of fatalities related to this vessel to 8. That's close to twice as many as in the Titan submersible. One way to understand how to investigate and prosecute this case, of the Bayesian, is to look at other intertextual cases through a true crime lens. If we apply specific perspectives such as time, previous incidents or patterns of human behavior or behavior of the vessel, and then more particularly design considerations, weather, and eyewitness reports, it starts to become clearer what we're dealing with. So let's look at it through 3 basic lenses. Number 1, the Bayesian and Titan. Just in a very basic way, both these vessels were touted as unsinkable or unbreakable, and as technological marvels. Both vessels had unusual or an exotic design element, and it turns out that these design elements are playing a big role in why it seems that they've met with disaster. In the Bayesian case, it's a huge mast, which may have made it unsteady in the water, and in the case of the Titan, a carbon fiber cylindrical rather than spherical hull. In the case of that deep diving submersible. So in both cases, a kind of experimental design. Both were basically the toys of the super rich, and their masters went down with these vessels. Number 2, Bayesian and the Mexican Navy ship. Now remember, that didn't happen very long time ago. And it does raise this question, can capturing an event on camera, that's something that is very rare in true crime, besides CCTV footage, can capturing an incident on camera make the investigation any easier? Well, you would think so. In this case, 2 people died when a Mexican Navy ship drifted under the Brooklyn Bridge in New York. It was said that the ship lost power, which is also the reason given for Bayesian, but in video the ship is clearly illuminated. So was this pilot error or simply an accident? There's also video not as clear of the Bayesian, and it also has power right up to the moment that the storm hits it. Now, in my opinion, the fact that it took place on Saturday night when people were celebrating and drinking explains a lot. Bayesian sank early on a Monday morning on a trip that was explicitly to celebrate the fortunes of its owner. The Mexican Navy ship is also going through a full investigation at the moment. Number 3, Bayesian and the Sir Robert Baden-Powell. This to me makes this a really very fascinating case. The fact that the Sir Robert Baden-Powell was anchored right beside the Bayesian, literally something like 100 meters away, provides an excellent example of what a ship and captain and crew could and should have done given exactly the same set of circumstances. The Sir Robert Baden-Powell came out of it, no injuries, no drowning, ship fine. And so it does reveal that this wasn't a weather event that wasn't survivable. There's a flaw, I think, both in the Bayesian and also in the response of the crew. Perhaps the Bayesian crew were kind of nonchalant, even complacent, but were they negligent? And so some footage from the Associated Press shows just how close the craft sank to the shore. Most people, I would think, could swim it, but that wasn't the issue here. People weren't warned, and that's kind of an elementary thing. And they ended up trapped in a vessel that wasn't supposed to sink. Not only did the unsinkable superyacht sink, it sank super fast. And the investigation continues to probe how and why and whether human error is a factor. What do you think? Do you think it is? I must say it's very interesting seeing this craft that was once this sort of beacon of human endeavor, being raised from the seabed. It's totally stricken. It is totally broken. It's lost its shine. It's brown. It's broken. And this symbol of human endeavor is now actually a symbol of human frailty and the human capacity for hubris to underestimate nature and to overestimate our own abilities. And hubris is, I think, a thing that we as a collective species are suffering from at the moment. And the Bayesian, I think, is a example, a parable right now. Be careful in terms of your hubris. The Titan is another example of that. People climbing Everest, another example of that. Right now, this very delicate period, a very delicate time in human history, we need to contain our hubris, be humble, be careful. I'm not going to take it further than that. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.